and welcome to the Show, Great Business Skills Show. And I'm your host, Dr. Anthony L. Gantt, and we are here again today to talk about some great things on business. I'm glad you're here with me. Please subscribe. We're here on IntellectualRadio.com, and where we feed your brain. So I'm gonna do my small part to help feed your brain for this evening. So we're gonna do another 60 minutes here, another hour here on how to actually improve our business skills, and we're gonna come from the topic every month on the show. We have a different book, a different topic with along with a different book. So obviously, the book that we're doing this month is the Wealth Formula, and we're going to do different parts. So today is part two. Last week, let me just kind of do a recap to just kind of catch you up. Last week we talked about business, how your business can help you become wealthy, and we also talked about how to position yourself for wealth. And if you don't position yourself for wealth, then you put yourself in the position that you won't probably become wealthy. But because you have a business, it's a mechanism that helps you become wealthy if you use it properly. And all businesses can do this. So it's not any particular business that will help you become wealthy. Any business can help you become wealthy. However, that's one reason why it's imperative that you look at shows like this, read books that I've written, and other people that have written books and have shows on how to actually improve your business skills. You know, your skill set will determine how financially set you'll be. So you have to get more skill sets in regards to your business so that you can actually help you become a little bit more financially set. So we talked about positioning yourself, and we used the example of pose. That's one of the words that's connected with position. And like you pose for a picture, and so you're posing to putting yourself in position to become wealthy. We also talked about how wealth is not based on what type of car you drive, what type of house you live in, and any of those things. Many people that come across to you, most of them are bragging about their wealth because of the car they drive, or bragging about their wealth because of the house they live in, or the people they know. And that doesn't necessarily mean a person is wealthy because of that. That just means that they know those people, they have that type of vehicle, or they live in this neighborhood. So I gave you the example last week as you can live in $1 million house, but if you owe $999,000 on the house, then you are a thousandaire. You're not a millionaire because you only have $1,000 worth of equity. That's your net worth. And that's why I spent a lot of time last week on talking about your net worth. Your net worth would determine how wealthy you are or aren't. So you can have a $5,000 car, for instance, that you paid off as your car, and you say it's only worth $5,000. And that person can have that $1 million house and owe $999,000 on the house. Your net worth is more than that person's net worth because you had this $5,000 car that's paid off. So it's all about your net worth, and you're doing all you can all the time to improve or increase your net worth that you have. Now, with a business, you're trying to always increase your sales, or you may hear revenue. You're trying to increase your revenue from the business, and each time you do that, you put yourself in a position to increase the value of the business. Those are things like business evaluations. So people evaluate your business based on the revenue that it brings in. So you can sell your business for this amount based on that revenue, right? So I used last week, if you had a business that netted $335,000 a year, you can actually sell that business most likely for $1 million to $1.5 million based on what type of business it is as well. But because of the revenue that has come in, you can usually evaluate it as 3 to 5 times the income. So this is one reason why you want to make sure you kind of keep your business in a place where it's always generating revenue. Last week, I talked about 3 ways to determine a millionaire. Now, I only talked about 2 last week, so I'm going to say something about the 2 and then add the 1. And I gave the example, if you had $1 million cash, that means you're a millionaire because you have $1 million cash. Pretty simple, right? Pretty elementary. And so that makes you a cash millionaire. The second way I share with you, and I use the example of if you had a painting, a piece of art, and it was worth $1 million. It's been appraised and evaluated and worth $1 million. Well, you are a millionaire too. However, you are an asset millionaire in that example. Now, the third part is a combination of the two. You know, you may have $500,000 cash and $500,000 in assets, right? Well, 500 plus 500 is $1 million, right? So that's the same thing. So you still, in those 3 elements, you are considered a millionaire. Now, most people that become millionaires or become wealthy, they usually become wealthy because of assets. And that's why your business is so important because it's an asset that you have. You may say, well, I'm doing this thing out of my house or out of my apartment, right? but it's still a business and it's an asset, even though you may live in an apartment, even though you may live in a small house or something like that, right? It's still an asset, your business, and it might be a consulting business, it might be a cleaning service business, whatever type of business it is, it's an asset, meaning that you can sell it. Now, I want you to understand there's a big difference between monetary value and sentimental value. Some people may think, well, this is my mama, my daddy's Bible or whatever, and it's sentimental to me because it's been passed down and from my granddaddy to him. Well, that's sentimental value. That doesn't necessarily mean that it has a monetary value on it. Now, if your granddaddy or grandmama was, someone very popular or someone that went down in history as very famous, then it may mean something then, right? And it's not saying your grandmama, granddaddy weren't important people. However, just because something is sentimental to you does not mean it's a monetary value to me or to anybody else. It's just sentimental. You might have your mama's fur coat. It means something to you, but it doesn't mean a person's going to spend $500,000 on your mama's fur coat because it's your mama's fur coat, right? They can go buy another fur coat for a few $100s. So I want you to understand, just because you have something that's sentimental to you doesn't necessarily mean that it has a monetary value that you can sell it for and get the cash. Now, when you must look at this. So I used the example last week as on the last session that a person that's an athlete and they get $1 million check or whatever because they're an athlete and they're a millionaire. So because they don't have assets, let's say for instance you get $1 million and you buy a cheeseburger for $2. Well, you're not a millionaire anymore, right? Because the $2 is a subtraction from the $1 million, right? Well, this is why you want to take cash. When you get cash, you want to learn how to buy assets. And then with your assets, because even though I share with you that piece of art, you have this painting, this wonderful painting that's worth $1 million, but it's not producing any income. It's worth $1 million if you sell it, but it's not producing any income. So one thing that you're trying to do, you're trying to use cash to buy assets, and you're trying to have assets create cash. You're trying to do this all the time. So just having an asset that's not creating cash won't probably do you any good at the time. So many people that might, oh wow, many many people that might actually be millionaires are people in the situation where they can be asset rich and cash poor. So you can be cash rich and asset poor. So you want to try to use them both. Now, can you do this overnight? No, you can't. I should say no, you can't. But most likely you're not going to do it overnight. But you can do it over time. So I said all that, and then I also talked about the money track. You got a consumer, you got a distributor, and you got a producer. Now you have to make sure. Now I know I said you a consumerist, right? And you have the disease called consumeritis. Now consumeritis is not a real medical disease, right? It's something that I made up, and it's something that I had to use for myself years ago to keep me from being a consumer only. It forces me to actually be involved with business as either a distributor or as a producer. And if all you're doing is spending all of your money up all the time, then you're a great consumer, and everything you consume will be either used up or taken up by you or taken from you, right? So now you're gonna have this disease called consumeritis, meaning that all your stuff will be eaten up before you even get into your tomorrow. So you want to get into business, and it's one of the best places, obviously, to start for a lot of people is being a distributor. Why? Because you may not have as much money to produce something, and you may not have the time to wait on it being produced. Sometimes you can produce something, and it can take 3, 4, 5, 10 years before that thing comes out into the marketplace. You may not have that much time because you might need some money tomorrow or next month or next year, right? So your job is to look at what you have and say, okay, this is why home-based businesses are so good for a lot of people, is because they can come up with a few $100s and they can be a distributor. They can sell that person's juice, buy the juice for $5 and sell it to somebody else for $10. They can buy the makeup and sell it at one price, sell it for another price, right? So now you are actually in a distribution circle, which keeps you on the side of getting into a position to become wealthy. Now, I talked about the wealth track and things of that nature now in the marketplace. Now, I came from lesson one. That was the foundation of last week's show. Now, I've done about 10 minutes of preliminary things, right? Recapping and everything. So now, today's show is going to still be from the book, The Wealth Formula. And we're going to talk about chapter 8 or lesson 8 in the book. Now, I'm going to use a 4-letter word in this show. And some of you all may think this word is profane. All right. So I'm kind of warning, right? And I'm going to spell the word so you'll know that I'm going to use the word. So here's the word: WORK. That's the 4 letter word I'm going to use in the show. And to some people, I know that's profanity, right? Because they don't want to hear nothing about work. You tell them work, they run in the other direction. They want to beat you up. Stop talking about them. Why you keep telling me to work? But the truth of the matter is, if you want to get anywhere close to wealth, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work running businesses. It's a lot of work adding more products. It's a lot of work promoting those businesses. It's a lot of work being a distributor. It's a lot of work being a producer. It's a lot of work involved. Now, sometimes we don't understand that because we look at the people showing you a picture of somebody on a yacht, people standing in front of you bragging about the fancy car they have and how they sat on the yacht for the last 5 years. And maybe that did happen to them. But if you really want to be wealthy, you got to put the work in. And if you're not good at putting the work in, and that's how you have to get good at knowing how to time wealth. See, when I use the statement time wealth or timing wealth, you're a wealth timer. And a lot of times people think time and wealth is I got to get on the ground level. I got to get all the secrets that nobody know about. Find out the stuff in the back room. And that's not what I'm talking about. Wealth is no secret. Becoming wealthy is no secret. And the reason why it's not a secret because that 4 letter word called WORK is needed. So that's why it's not a secret. The thing is, people that don't want to actually do the WORK try to act like there's a secret. They're always looking for the secrets to become wealthy. But show me the secrets. What are the secrets? What are the shortcuts? There aren't any shortcuts if you want to do this thing well, right? So you're going to have to look at it as timing wealth is not getting on the ground level. This company just started. I want to be the first ones in. No, 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 no. Wealth been going on a long time. You don't need to do all that stuff. Now, it's good if you start a company, you on the ground level. But start your own company. Guess where you start? At the ground level. Now, it's funny how when you tell a person to start their own company, their own restaurant, their own cleaning service, and they have to start at the ground level, they're not excited about it. But then somebody can come along in their path and say, hey, got this new opportunity. There's only like about 3 or 4 people that know you can start in the ground level. Just give us all your money and you can start in the ground level. And these people give up all that money because they think it's a great opportunity to start at the ground level of that company. And it may be. But you tell them to start their own company and start at the ground level, they don't want to do it. They want an easy way. The truth is, it's really not an easy way to actually become wealthy if you're going to do the work yourself, right? So you must realize that there's a big difference between putting time in at work and putting work into time. If you don't understand this difference, it's gonna be hard for you to actually be on track to become wealthy and improve your net worth or increase your net worth at any particular uh, level. Because you're gonna think, and I understand because see, I was raised a certain way. Get your job so you put time in at work, right? They're paying you 15, 20, $10 an hour, whatever they're paying you, right? So you say, I got to go make these dollars. I got to go put this time in at work. I'm on the clock, right? So you go and to your job and they paying you $20 an hour and you working 8 hours a day, you say, I made $160, right? I'm good. Now you may not work the whole 8 hours you there, but it doesn't matter to you, right? Because as long as you there and you clocked in and you clock out. And so you put time in at work. Well, if you're going to become wealthy and you're going to be in business, it's not about putting time in at work. It's about putting work into time. You might, and now that's a different philosophy, right? And so some people just, when they hear it for the first time, it's just a theory. And now you have to practice it so it can become a philosophy. So now you have to put work into time. And the way that you put work into time is knowing what activities. This is why it's important that you know the ingredients to becoming wealthy. Once you know the ingredients of what you're doing or using to put into the time. Because it's some people earn $500 within an hour. They put that much work into an hour, earn $500. Some people put time in their work and earn $15 an hour. Now, is the person that received the $500 for that hour better than the person that received the $15 for the hour? No. One has a mentality of putting time in at work, and another one has a mentality to put work into time. See, time is going to do what time does, which is move. You and I don't have any control over time. Time doesn't need you and I to make it move. Time has been moving before you got on the planet. Time has been moving since you've been on the planet. And when you leave the planet, time will keep on moving. So this is why you need to work with time and do what time does which is move. This is why you got to have something to do, right? You have to know what the ingredients are, having a business and improving your business skills, and you need to do these things to help you work with time. If you're not working with time, you're probably working against time, and you're working against wealth, and you're working against yourself. So it's going to be hard for you to become wealthy if you don't know how to put work into time. So again, I told you that word work to a lot of people is profanity. So you say put work into time, again, they get upset because for some reason, many of us have been raised or we believe that it's okay. We can't wait to stop doing something. Man, 10 more years, I retire. I can do nothing. 15 more years, I can do nothing. I don't know what this is about. We can't wait to stop, right? Well, if you're going to get wealthy, you can't have that mentality. And this is why another part of the ingredient of time and wealth is that you need to kind of like what you do. So even if you become a millionaire, why would you want to do something for 5, 10, 15, 20 years to become a millionaire and the whole time you didn't like what you did, right? You want to like what you do. So hopefully your business that you're involved in is something that you like. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you don't like the business that you're doing, then find your business that you like. And it's okay. Don't just get into businesses because money is involved. It should be some liking that you have, enjoying. Because even if you become a millionaire, let's look at an entertainer or an athlete, for instance. They make a good movie or make a nice album or do it, have a nice season. A lot of them don't stop playing after their first good season they had. They don't stop playing music after their first good album they had. They don't stop being an entertainer after that first good year. They keep doing it, even though they earn millions of dollars at doing it. The reason being because they like what they did. Even though they made $1 million, that didn't mean that I make my $1 million. I'm gonna stop being an actor. I made my $1 million. I'm gonna stop being a musician. I earned my $1 million, so I'm gonna stop being an athlete. No, no, no. They keep doing it because they like what they do. So you're gonna have to like the labor. If you don't like your labor, then you're gonna probably not do a whole lot of it. And now you're gonna look for shortcuts. You're gonna look for the quick way to do it. Can somebody scam me? Now you're looking for something for nothing. Like I shared last session, the quickest way or the easiest way to get food and get things and get your money taken from you is to believe that you can get something for nothing. That's the easiest way. And that's what most con artists, manipulators, they're trying to find the people that believe they can get something for nothing. Once they find those people that can believe they can get something for nothing, they'll take everything you have because there's no such thing as getting something for nothing. You're gonna have to put something in so you can get something out. But when you don't understand that, then it's gonna be hard for you to become wealthy because of the fact that you're trying to get something for nothing. So every scam that come along, you're gonna be in it, and then you're gonna get mad 6 months later because you've been scammed. Then you done lost all your 401k money. You lost all your investment money that you had that you saved for 25 years because you didn't see the scam coming because you thought that you can get something for nothing. Now I know this might be harsh because people that stand in front of you telling you about you just do this 3 times, you get this nice 2020 automobile, right? Well, all you have to do is blink your eyes 3 times. Just give us all your money and make sure you give us this much money every month for the next 3 months, and then you can see what happened to you. Well, then you don't have any money and you lost your house, lost your apartment, lost your car. Now you're mad at the world. But you have to get rid of the mentality of thinking I can get something for nothing. So working is something you're gonna have to do. Working is something that you're gonna have to enjoy doing. You're going to have to enjoy the work that you do. Now, I want you to understand this. Work has some friends, and you're gonna have to make these your 5 best friends. Now, work itself have this twin brothers, right? Because that's one friend you need to have work. But they got these twin brothers, right? Let me tell you what their names are. One name is hard work. To become wealthy, to do anything successfully, guess what? It's hard work. The other friend is, I told you, they're twin brothers, right? So his name is work hard. You're going to have to work hard if you want to become wealthy. You're going to have to work. It's hard work. You're going to have to work hard. Now, I know people say, I'm working smart, not hard. You're okay. But it's not smart, not working hard. You're going to have to put some work. You're going to have to put some work in this thing, right? The next two friends, the friend work, he has two twin sisters or twins, right? And these two twins. And one of these twins' name is Work a Lot. You're gonna have to work a lot when you want to, if you want to become wealthy, and then you're gonna be in business. And the other twin name is a lot of work. To become wealthy, there's a lot of work involved to become wealthy. You're gonna have to work, you're gonna work hard, it's hard work, it's a lot of work, and you're gonna have to work a lot. Those need to be your five best friends. Now I know that sounds a little facetious, a little elementary, but those are gonna have to be your best friends. And if you don't like to work, if you don't like to work hard, if you don't understand, you're afraid of hard work, you don't like to work a lot, and you don't like to do a lot of work, I'm telling you, leave this alone. It ain't for you. I know ain't is not the right word. It ain't for you. So you need to count because it's gonna be a lot of work. You're not just working when people see you from uh, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. You work longer than that. When you're in business, business people don't have set hours. We don't have 40-hour weeks, right? That's not how it goes for a lot of us, right? Especially if you have any level of success at it. So you working more than that. So a principle in timing wealth and enjoying your labor, right? And working is that you have to understand the premise of half day. You're gonna have to work half days. Now, when you hear half a day, some people get excited and say, well, I work 8 hours on my job. So that means half day mean I work 4 hours. No, 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 no. In our world, in the entrepreneurship world, the wealth world, that's not what that's called. Half day, half of the day is 12. It's 24 hours in a day, right? Half the day is 12. It's going to be many days you're going to put work into 12 hours. Many days. You don't just put time in at work for 40 hours and then quit. You're going to do a lot of 60-hour weeks, so to speak. You're going to put work in. See, because, for instance, I use myself for an example in regards to this. When people see me come out with a book, they just seen that part. They didn't see the year process before that came out. They didn't see, hey, what's going on? They didn't see um, how to actually get to the place of all this prep work I have to do when I get the book, and nor do they see all the prep work that happens after the book is out, all the promotion that takes place, all those different things that has to happen during that process. Well, that's with any business. You may open, say, what time does that clothing store open up, or that restaurant open up? And they say they open up at 9 o'clock. No, they open up to you at 9 o'clock. The workers and people that run that business, they may be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. They may have left there last night at 1 o'clock in the morning. See, they don't have 8-hour days. When you run a business, you have to put a lot of work in. Again, for some people, this is not a good idea. This is not something that they're interested in. This is not something that they like. So you must understand that's one of the things you have to do. Because if you don't understand you're going to have to put a lot of half days in, then it might not be a good idea for you to be in business, right? Because now you're going to be a good consumer, and that means you're not going to get assets. And you're not going to turn your asset into cash and turn your cash into more assets. You're not going to do that because that's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of work. So since it's a lot of work, that means that you have to do some things differently during the process. And if you don't do anything differently, then you're gonna find yourself with a disease called consumeritis. And with that disease, then you're gonna find yourself probably doing nothing but consuming, 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 and then you're not gonna be any type of distribution or production type of situations. So let's go to this here. I'm gonna step in to a little bit of chapter lesson 4, right? Because I want you to understand how much work it takes, right? Because when you're in business, and I said this last week a little, that you have to learn how to make profits. If you don't know how to make profits, then that means you're probably earning a wage, right? Now, this is why it's important that you understand business and you have to own the business. You're in the business to own the business, right? You don't just want to be a business operator. You want to be a business owner that operates the business that you own. You want to own the business and operate the business, whether it's a restaurant, a grocery store, a consulting firm, whatever it may be. You may be a cleaning service, you may be a snack shop, or all these different things. But you want to own that business because you may not do this, but you might in the future, you might sell the business, right? You might want to sell the business. Maybe again, you want to transfer the business to your children or to your spouse or to your, parents or your best friends or to your dog or cat or whatever, right? You might want to transfer this business to someone. But this is why it's important to understand that you need to earn profits from the business because you make the business more valuable, and it takes a lot of work to consistently earn profits from a business. So remember what the five friends we have: a lot of work, work a lot, hard work hard, and work. Again, I know some people that's it's really a lot of profanity I just use on this radio show, right? But you still have to actually put that work in. So when you look at a business, the profits that you have is what you use to protect the business that you have. If you aren't earning profits, it's going to be hard to protect the business. Now, I'm not talking about legal protection or insurance. I'm not talking about protection like that. Profits, if profits aren't made, wages can't be paid. If people, it's two roads that you and I can be on. Now, I wasn't taught this growing up because people in my neighborhood, people in my family, they didn't know it either, right? So people teach you how to get a wage. I mean, you might start at 16 working at the fast food restaurant, right? Because they say, hey, go get a job. Nothing wrong with a job, but that's what people tell you to go do. So when you get a job, you're getting a wage. So the two roads you can be on the profits road or you can be on the wages road. Those are two roads that you can be on to earn money. Now you get if you're on the wages road, obviously you have a job. You on the profits road, obviously you own a business. So living off profits is much better than living off wages. I just explained to you if profits aren't made, then wages can't be paid. This is what we get the statements are downsizing, right sizing, merging, layoff, fired, whatever they want to call it. Because what they're saying, your wage is getting in the way of my profit. And since your wage, all five of y'all over there, your wage is getting in the way of my profits. So guess what? We need to cut that whole department down because you all are cutting into my profits. Because if profits aren't made, wages can't be paid. Now, if you're in a business yourself, then you are on the profits roll. And one thing you're not going to do is cut your wage, right? So to speak, you're not going to let you go. I don't think you are, right? Because it's your business. So in order to be on profits, it's a 7-step system that you need to know to be involved with profits, right? Profits, and it's an acronym that I developed for myself years ago and started using it. And that first thing you have to do to be involved with profits, you got to pay. That's what the P is for. You have to pay. Now, see, I just said another nasty word to the people. I got to pay and be in business. I got to pay. Why I got to pay? Right? Well, if you don't pay, you don't have permission to deal with profits. Profits can't be talked to or touched without you paying something first. You can't say I'm gonna buy a stock for that company. I know there's things like options, don't get me wrong. But you can't say I'm gonna buy a stock in that company. I'm gonna buy it after you all give me the money first. No, you got to pay to get in, and that's one of the things involved with profits. If see, you don't pay to go get a job, but you may pay for transportation or something like that, or buy you a nice suit so you can do it good on your interview or whatever. But to get the job, you don't have to pay to have a job. There's no payment by you at all. You're getting paid, but there's no payment by you. But when you run a business, anytime you get in business, you can say, I'm going to get a location on Main Street. You have to pay for the location, whether you're going to lease the location or buy the location. You're selling products as a distributor, you're going to have to pay for the products so that you can sell the products. You want to be an actual producer, you have to pay for the stuff you need to make the cake or whatever it is you're trying to make, right? So you have to pay first. If you're not paying first, you're probably not involved with anything to do with profits. Again, if profits aren't made, wages can't be paid, right? Now the R in profits, and I'm going through this kind of fast because of the show that we're on, right? Obviously all this information is in the book, so I'm not saying anything that's not written here. So the R in the word profits is risk. When you actually make an investment in a business or any type of business, you are risking losing money. You put your $5,000, $10,000, $100, whatever you put in there, you can lose that money. You risking that money because you can actually not get the money back. That's the risk involved with being involved with profits, right? So if you are involved with profits, you are risking money, and that's okay. Because if you buy that location or open up your new restaurant and you say, I'm taking all the money out of my retirement plan so I can open up this restaurant. Well, you're paying to open up the restaurant, to buy the food, and the risk is nobody show up to the restaurant. Nobody eat there, right? That's a risk that you have. This is what scares a lot of people from being involved with business, that this risk is there, that I can lose my money. Yes, you can. This is why you got to improve your business skills. Why? Because the business skills will prevent you from making mistakes, because every mistake you make costs money. And this is why your business skills need to be improved to help you prevent you from making mistakes, which will prevent you from losing money. And if you're not losing money, then it's probably the opposite of loss is gain. So you're probably gaining money in the process. So that's the R. The O in the word profits. So I hope you're taking notes. The O in the word profits is ownership. See, you don't own a wage, you own profits. See, if you have some ownership in the restaurant, ownership in the consulting business, ownership in the whatever business you're doing, the distribution company, you own something there. Then what happens is you have some more payment. You are involved with the profits. You can share in the profits because you have ownership in the business. If you don't have any ownership in the business, it's kind of hard to share the profits. Now, people can say, well, I work on my job and I make all these profits for my company. That's true, right? But that don't mean you can share in the profits of that company, right? You are working a job that was created by a person that wants profits. Now, let me break something down before I go into more profits. When you look at the word wage, it's the root word to a word called wager. Wager is only used, that word is really only used in one environment, and that environment is gambling. In other words, when you put a wager on the table, put a wager on the horse, put a wager on the other team, you put in a bet. You are betting that I put this $100 on this horse or on whatever I'm betting on, and that it brings me more. When I win, I get more than $100 back, right? Well, here's the reality, and I hope you don't feel sad once you hear this. The reality is, when you get a wage, you are a bet to a company. The company says, I bet you I get him that guy $20 an hour, and I bet you he brings me in $40 an hour, or $60 an hour, or $100 an hour. So you are a bet. Now, when they give you $20 for the work you're doing, and all you bringing in is $20, you are a bad bet. And this is when they give you an evaluation. Maybe we don't need you working here anymore, right? Because you're not a good bet. Now, don't get upset that you're a bet. Everybody work a job and get a wage. People betting on you. Now, they may not like you all that well, but they say, that person's really sharp. We paid them $20, and hey, they keep it up. We're gonna sell their skills for $80, and we're gonna keep $60. You may say that's wrong. That's wrong. No, it's called profits and wages. One person decided to be on the profits roll, and they create a job that you work, and they sell the results or what you produce from that job to someone else. It may not sound right, but they paid you $20 an hour. You happy with that, right? Or maybe they paid you $40 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever it is that you accepted, because that position has a price tag on it. You accepted the position, the wage, and I mean that's what they bet. And they said that position, whoever worked that position, should bring us this much money. So why do you think companies do evaluations and everything on you? You said you think they just want to waste their time? They trying to see how good of a bet you are, right? See if this is a good bet. We're gonna every 6 months we're gonna do an evaluation and see how if you're a good bet. Because if you're not a good bet, we're gonna let you go and have somebody else fill that position so they can be a better bet for me. And that may sound wrong. It may sound disheartening to some people. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I want you to look at this thing in reality, right? In order to become wealthy. So you need to get on the profit side. It's not like you're getting over on anybody, because you pay somebody $20 to cut your grass, and then somebody else pay you, you know, more money because you cut their grass. That's what a lawn service does. They say, hey, charge you $20 to cut your grass, but they might be paying the workers $10 an hour. Where the workers cut 10 yards in that hour. Well, they earn $200 from customers, but they only had to pay $10 for the workers. You said that's wrong. That's wrong. Well, you didn't take the risk of having a business. You didn't put the money up and buying all the lawnmowers and all the buying the gas for the lawnmowers and buying the truck that everybody's going in, and the gloves and the goggles. So you didn't put that money up. The guy that owns, or the lady that owns that business, did all that. So this is why they're trying to become wealthy, because you living off profits. See, profits are your livelihood, because if you don't make any profits, you can't eat. This is why if your wage get in the way of the profit, they're gonna get rid of your wage so that they can eat. And again, it may sound wrong, but that's just part of what it is. Let's go back to profits because I got a little more time here. So let's go back to profits. The F in profits is fortune. You can profits is the only way you can earn a fortune. You can't earn a fortune with a wage. However, you can earn a fortune with profits. You never hear people talking that have a wage talking about fortune. We're gonna get a fortune. No fortune in wages. It's fortune in profits. Your little cookie company that you have, or whatever you have, your cleaning service, it can earn you a fortune. But you can actually be at work and earn you $50,000 a year because that's your wage. And that's okay if that's what you want to do. The I in profits is independence. You become independent, the more profits you get, the more independent you become. That means that you have more freedom because you have more profits. If you don't have any profits, then it's kind of hard to get independence. Well, if you guys working a wage, there's no independence in wage. If I tell you be at 9 o'clock and you can leave, you get lunch at 11 o'clock and come back at 12 o'clock and get you a break at 1 o'clock and be back at your desk at 1:15, and you can leave here at 5 o'clock. That's that's not freedom. You don't have any independence in that. You are your life and during the day is based on what that company says you have to do. Not bad. It's the rules, and you have to play by the rules, right? Um, the T in profits is transferable. You can't transfer a job. I said that last session. You can't transfer a job. You pass on, or you want to say I'm retirement transfer, get my son or daughter this job because I'm getting ready to retire. No, when you stop driving the bus and you say, "Hey, it's retirement time for me. I stopped driving the bus." They don't say, "Okay, where's your son or daughter so you can transfer this job?" And they make $20 an hour. No, they go get the next person. And he's driving or she's driving the bus, right? Because you can't transfer that, but you can transfer profits. If you have a business, you can transfer profits. You can transfer profits. Half the profits go to him and half the profits go to her, right? You can have profits from the business go to anybody you want to because you own the business. If you don't own it, it's kind of hard to transfer it, right? And the S in profits is for security. The only true security when it comes to working and earning money is by dealing with profits. There's no security in wages. And see, a lot of times situations prove that. Anytime they want to, a company pretty much can say, we don't need you anymore. Now, yeah, I know we have unions and everything fighting on your behalf of people. But the truth of the matter is they can say, we're cutting this whole department out. Next year, this department is non-existent. We're just going to have somebody else do this work. We're going to have another outsource this out to another company. And there's nothing you can do about it. Even though you just bought your car and bought your house on this job, they gone now, right? Because there's no security in that. There's only security in profits. If you're not earning profits, you don't have much security. However, if you are earning profits, you have a whole lot of security. You have a lot of ownership. You have a lot of independence. You have a particular position to earn a fortune. Yes, some risk involved. Yeah, but you got to pay. And not only do you pay one time while you're in business, you have to pay often in business. In order to stay in the business, you got to keep paying. A person own got a leasing a storefront for their business. They don't pay one time and never pay again. If they leasing it out, the landlord want the next month payment. If you're gonna still be in business in that storefront, well, that means they have to pay again, meaning that they're trying to make profits again this month. At least that's the mentality. So if you don't understand that, then you may say I have a business in name only because I shared with you last week that you need to be in the center of your business. If you're in the center of your business, earning profits from your business is very important. At least it should be, because you can't stay in business without profits. If you're not making profits, you cannot stay in business. You don't have permission to stay in business. If you don't make profits today, you putting yourself in a position not to be in business tomorrow. You have to make profits today. That gives you permission to be in business tomorrow. You need to make profits this week so you can be in permission to be in business next week. That's just what you have to do. Now, that's a lot more work. That means after 5 o'clock, you still got to try to figure out what you're going to do tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. So you're always doing a lot of strategy, planning. Why? Because you're trying to earn profits, because you're trying to stay in business. Because living off profits is much better than living off wages. So how do you do that if you're in business, right? Maybe you need to buy something at a small price Don't go in debt. Maybe this week with your business, let this business this week buy your lunch, and it's responsible for buying your lunch because you need to see that your business can produce profits for you and take care of parts of your life. I know lunch may be $5, but you need to have evidence. And a lot of times people don't do business well, and the risk of being involved scare them so much because they don't see what their business has bought anything for them. It hasn't done anything for them. It hasn't paid a light bill. It hasn't paid a gas bill. It hasn't bought them a pair of shoes. It hasn't done anything for them. So they're always afraid. And this is why they don't do business well and they never become wealthy or even get on track to become wealthy because they never get involved with profits running their life. Profits never do anything and make an impact in their life. And the only way they have something in their life is by having a wage. And if sometimes people have a wage, and if you don't understand, they'll talk about business and being wealthy. But and again, this is not a negative thing, but it's not an accurate thing sometimes when people are presenting themselves. They working a job at the company and they're making their money from they've been there 20 years. But they're trying to tell you about being in business, but their business can make zero money this month because they earning their money. They got that nice pretty house based on the job they have. Nothing wrong with that, but so you don't know they have that job. But they're presenting to you like they got all this type of lifestyle because of the fact that they do this little business, this cupcake business. I'm always on my boat. I'm always laid out, chilling out, doing traveling all over the place. Well, you're not traveling because your business did it. You're traveling because your job did it. But you're not telling people about the job that you have. So people think, man, I must be pretty bad at business. This guy always traveling. This lady always on the beach. Yeah, they on the beach because they got a wife that's working a really good job as an executive, and they try to seem like, yeah, me and my wife go all over the world. Yeah, it's because she got a good job, and your business is not paying for the house note. So and I said that to kind of lead into this, you want to talk to people and listen to people that actually live off their businesses. They make their life off their businesses. It doesn't mean that they're better than anybody else, but you're going to get a true and you're going to get something authentic when you deal with people that live off businesses because it's a lot of work. Because people that really run businesses, I shared this with you last session, the word business has a root word called busy, and you're going to be busy in business. You can't be in business and not be busy. You not be in business always on the boat all day long. Now, unless maybe your business is being on the boat. I don't know. But you can't just vacation 365 days a year and talk about you in business too. Now, maybe you've been in business a long time and now you got to a certain place. But if you haven't been in business a long time, it takes time to be involved with business, right? It takes time to actually make profits and do things of that nature. When you get good at it, then you can start adding some other things to your business to help you earn more money, earn more profits, right? Because you're always trying to increase your profits. So how do you know how you increase your profits? I think I have about 5 minutes. Okay, so how do you increase your profits? Here's one way you do. You look at your profit. It's called profit margins, right? Profit margins is your base cost. I shared this with you last week to a certain extent. It's your expenses. So let's say, for instance, you are, I don't know, making cupcakes, right? You got a cupcake business, right? And your expenses to make the cupcakes is for each cupcake is 50 cents, right? That's the flour, sugar, whatever you use, right? And you make and with all the stuff you buy, it's really 50 cents a cupcake what you spending. Well, if you sell the cupcake for 25 cents, you're gonna be in the red, right? You're not going to be in the profit side, meaning that you're not increasing your net worth in that business. So you have to sell that cupcake for like 51 cents or better, right? Because it costs you 50 cents to earn it. And anything you sell it for over that is your profit margin. The larger the margin, the bigger the profit. So if you say it costs me 50 cents to make it and I'm selling the cupcake for $5, that means I earn $4.50 per cupcake, right? Now I have to say, how many cupcakes do I need to sell to take care of my storefront or my business and then take care of my life? Well, I might need to sell 100 cupcakes a day. Well, if you don't sell 100 cupcakes a day and you only sell 3 cupcakes a day, even though you make $4.50 per cupcake, it's going to be pretty hard to pay your rent for that building, pay your house note, car note, whatever else you have going on. So this is why you need to understand your profit margins. If you don't understand your profit margins, how do you know if you're making a profit? If you don't understand your profit margins, how do you know how much of a profit you're earning with each item. How do you know how much profit you're earning with each business? If you have more than one, you don't have an idea. And most people don't know their numbers. They don't know how much of a profit they're earning off anything. Say how much you earn a profit off, you know, those hamburgers you selling. They could not tell you. Well, I just try to sell a bunch of hamburgers, Well, that's not good. Again, business skills. One of the business skills you need to have is understanding your numbers, what things cost you, and what you sell things for. And that gap in between is your profit. It's also your net worth. So if you making using that cupcake example I gave, you selling it take you 50 cents to make the cupcake, and you selling the cupcake for 51 cents. Your net worth is a penny per cupcake. You said, well, I want a bigger net worth than that. Well, you're gonna have to either make the cupcake for 40 cents, or you're gonna have to take the cupcake and start selling it for $1. Right? That's how you improve your profit margins, improve that space between what something costs you and what something actually is selling for on behalf of what you're doing. So those are some things. So we covered quite a bit of information in today's show. I only have a couple of minutes. So let's do a quick recap. So we talked about work, right? You have to time wealth, and you need to be a wealth time. You need to do what time does, right? You need to move. Time moves forward. You need to move forward. I know some things in life are tough. You still have to move forward. You may not be able to move as fast as you did last week, but you need to move as fast as you can today, right? I know things happen in life, so you still got to do what time does. Just move 1 second at a time. Just keep moving, right? And just try to be consistent at your movement that you have. You have to actually realize work. You got to make work, one of your best friends. You have to like the work that you do. These have to be your best friends. What are those 5 best friends again? Work. Work hard. Hard work. Work a lot. A lot of work. You need to make those your 5 best friends. You got to get good at putting in half days. You can't be afraid to put work into 12 hours a day if you're going to be in business and if you plan on being wealthy because of the business. Also, you need to understand that you got to like what you do. You have to like the work you do. If you don't like it, find some work that you like to do as a business. I mean, if you're gonna go have a business and not like the work you do, just go get a job and not like that. Let's complicate it. Fewer things involved, right? So you need to like the work you do. Then we need to understand profits, right? We got to pay. There's gonna be some risk. We got to focus on ownership. We got to try to earn us a fortune. We got to realize it makes us independent. We got to be able to transfer it and look for security. Why? Because living off profits is much better than living off wages. We don't want to be a bet all our life, right? We want to actually earn profits for some of our life too. So, with all that said, obviously you want to get in touch with me again. We came from the book. Uh, Today we came from lesson 8, chapter 8, and parts of chapter 4 in this session. We'll come from some other parts next week as well. If you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me at fullerpurposemedia@gmail.com. You can email me some questions. I try to address them during the teaching time that I do here on the show. And then, if not, then I'll try to tell you and point you in the right direction where you can go. Obviously, I have another show on IntellectualRadio.com on Sundays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time called A Greater You. You can check me out on that as well. Subscribe to IntellectualRadio.com. I'm not the only host on here. They have a lot of great hosts on here, a lot of great shows, and you'll be notified every time another show is on. So you can not just see me. You might say, I don't like you. You talk too fast, right? You might like somebody else to talk slower, right? So, but if you subscribe, you'll be updated with all these different shows, and there's shows pretty much every day during the week. So subscribe to those shows. So keep in mind, uh, great business people aren't born. They're made by having great business skills. And I'll see you next time.